Not exactly the news we were expecting, but I've got to be honest with you, for me, it's actually even better. Let's get into this.
My name is Andy Hornby, photographer and vlogger. 15 years ago I started teaching myself photography. Today I travel the UK as a professional wedding photographer, landscape photographer and filmmaker. Learn from my experiences, my mistakes and my tips and advice. Join me on my photography adventures.
Okay, so yesterday Sony made the announcement of a new system, the A6400. Now everyone was expecting there to be something along the lines of an A7S3. The A7 series had the upgrades to the 3s quite some time ago now, and everyone's been expecting a video camera in that range, the S3, to come out, and it hasn't. Yesterday Sony announced the A6400, which is a crop sensor, an APS-C sensor camera, which they haven't released anything in that range for quite a long time, so it's actually quite a good thing. And this video today is going to be me talking about that camera, and this is going to be my honest review of that system and how it stacks up. The good things about it, the bad things about it. There are a couple of bits that aren't great, and I'm going to go through them all today. But before I do that, I just wanted to say, if you're new to my channel, my name's Andy. I do wedding photography, landscape photography, event photography, pretty much any type of photography, interior design. My channel is about everything about photography. I do a lot of vlogs, I do a lot of gear related reviews, and if you're interested in that, stick around. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get updates every time I upload a new video. First of all, the 24 megapixel sensor is not new. It's the same sensor they had, I believe, in the 6500. The 24 megapixel, although the A7R2 has a larger megapixel, I don't use it that often, and the A7 III is the 24 megapixel sensor, and I think it's perfect for most of the stuff that I do. I don't need any more. I certainly wouldn't want less. Sorry, the processor that the A6400 has is actually brand new. It's the processor that I think they use in the A9 series, which is the Bions X. And yeah, it's apparently supposed to make this sensor really good, and it adds a lot of functionality to the camera that the A6300 and the A6500 doesn't have, and I'll come on to that in a little while. But it is missing IBIS, the in-body image stabilization that the A7 series has. I think the A6500 has it, which is the 5-axis stabilization system in the camera body itself. So if potentially you use this camera with a lens that doesn't have any kind of stabilization at all, you've got a non-stabilized unit, and that could be a potential issue considering the market that they're throwing us out at, and I'll come on to that in a second. Going back to the processor, it enables this camera to have real-time AF tracking. Now the 6500 doesn't have that, I believe. Certainly the A6300 doesn't. So this makes this, it puts this camera on a really good little pedestal in that kind of range of APS-C cameras, and really throws itself up there with the big boys because the eye autofocus on it's really good. And to be honest, the A7R2's eye autofocus is good. The A7 III's autofocus is good. But on paper, the A6400's eye autofocus looks to be even better. And it's, I don't know, they're making it so it's simply on, so you can turn it on in the menu system. Like with the A7R2 and the A7 series, the A7 III series, you have to use a custom button, so you have to hit a button to turn on the eye autofocus. With this, you can just turn it on in the menu. Then when you depress the shutter halfway, when you get in your focus, it will automatically turn on the eye autofocus, and it will switch seamlessly, apparently, between the eye autofocus and face detection. So when you half press down the shutter and you get in focus, it's going to switch straight to that eye autofocus, and it looks really good. I mean, some of the videos I've seen on the Sony YouTube actually do look pretty impressive. But if you use back button focus, you can hold that in and use that like a custom key, if you like, that I use at the moment. So I use a custom 3 key on this, the C3 key. I have to hold that down on there. On the A7 III, it's one of the other buttons. Just one less thing to worry about. I think that makes it really good. It's got touchscreen tracking as well, so you can track someone by touching the screen. That's quite impressive. And it's got a new flip screen. Now this has been a bone of contention for a lot of people, because if you look at a lot of the reviews, the flip screen is good. It actually flips up, so you can use it like a vlogging camera. My Canon actually flips to the side, which, okay, yeah, I prefer that. And the reasons why I prefer this to a flippy up one is because I use a video mic that actually sits in the hot shoe. If this flipped up to here, my video mic is going to be in front of it. You're not going to see it. And a lot of people are using that as a negative, if you like. And it is a little bit of one of my cons, but in the same sense, you can use maybe like an L bracket and maybe get a hot shoe mount and put it to your L bracket and maybe use the mic on the side rather than have the. It's not a deal breaker for me. It's not a big deal. There are brackets out there. I imagine there'll be a few third-party companies throwing brackets out there for a couple of quid on Amazon. This is going to come with animal eye autofocus, which is new. I don't know if you've ever shot animals. They're sort of pitched towards the kind of cats and dogs arena. Yeah, I mean, I've tried to shoot animals before, and you kind of get a focus on the nose or you focus on the ear. You don't quite get the eyes in focus, but this is pitching to be sort of the future of autofocus for animals. So those of you out there as a wildlife photographer, potentially, if you're shooting wildlife, it's going to be a fairly good system for you. And yeah, I don't have a lot to say about that because I don't shoot animals. It's not my area, but it is down as a pro, so I'm gonna put it in the video anyway. I think one of the biggest cons for me, the battery side, is still using the same W batteries that the A7 II use. These things are teeny and they don't last very long. The only upside to that is that because I've used this camera for a long time, I've got 7 of them, so if I do ever buy this camera, I won't be without batteries for it. It's one less thing I need to purchase, I suppose. So I'll have 8. Brilliant. So back when I was looking at swapping systems a couple of years ago, the 6500 was an option. It was on the table. It was more expensive than 70D, which is why I went for 70D at the time. Because the 6500 does shoot 4K, and I think it does have slow-mo as well, but I need a system that was robust, cheap enough for me to buy at the time, and something I could buy some cheap lenses for and use for vlogging and stuff. So I went with the Canon 70D, but the 6400 is still a lot cheaper than what the A6500 is even today. So it's kind of tickling my interest. It's kind of getting me interested in it. And the only drawback with the autofocus tracking on it is if you're shooting 120 frames a second, the slow-mo stuff, it won't touchscreen track. But that's not a big deal for me because I'm going to be doing this for. If I get it, I'll be getting it for vlogging. I'll be getting it for stills, and I'll be maybe doing a bit of B-roll, but I won't potentially need like focus tracking with the B-roll stuff. So again, it's not a big deal breaker for me, the fact that the touchscreen tracking doesn't work on the slow-mo. I can't find anything really wrong with the video side of things. Like I said, the touchscreen tracking works in 4K. The screen doesn't dim, like in the old 6500, the screen dims quite a bit when you put it in 4K, or if you go in slow-mo. Apparently the screen is a lot better with the A6400. And another little feature that they're introducing into this, I don't know whether it will be when it first releases, but they're doing a time-lapse like intervalometer internally inside the camera itself, so you can do time lapses. Now I like time lapses. If you watch my channel, you see I use a lot of time lapses in my videos. The only thing with that is I don't really like the kind of camera intervalometers. They don't really do it for me because they pump out a video that is very flat. Color grading is really difficult sometimes on them. With the time lapses I do myself, I actually do it in pictures. I take stills. They're larger file sizes, so I can shoot them up to 6K if I need them at 6K, and I can manipulate them whichever way I like. So I don't know if I'll get a lot of use out of that. The only good thing about it is they're going to be introducing it into the A7 series as well. So in a firmware update soon, I'll be able to have an internal intervalometer, yay, which I'll probably never use. So yeah, rounding things up a little bit, the A6400 is looking like a really good system. For me, as a vlogging setup, it would be awesome. I'm not worried about the flippy up screen coming at the top. The fact that it's got a screen that forward faces is perfect for vlogging. I think that's awesome. Like I said, I can use my old bracket, get a hot shoe mount, and just mount my mic to the side. I'm not that worried. And for stills, it is a really good autofocus system on that camera. And honestly, when I'm at a wedding, I have my two cameras set up for stills, which is the A7 that you're on at the moment, the A7 III, and the A7R2. I use this to get my sort of background, behind the scenes stuff at weddings, and that's great. My assistant or my brother or whoever's assisting with me at the time will use that to get behind the scenes footage. But the only problem using this is that I don't like that being used for stills, because it's not a very good stills camera. So where my brother would do loads of behind the scenes video stuff, I don't give him my expensive cameras to shoot stills. He sometimes gets a few bits and pieces with this, and I rarely use them because I don't like them. The flip side is with the A6400 is I can use that as a vlogging camera, behind the scenes camera, and a stills camera. Now, it is more expensive than this setup, and I'll probably have to sell that to buy it. Is it worth it? I think it probably is. I'm really contemplating buying it. For me, it looks like it's going to be a system that's going to fill a lot of gaps fill a few gaps in my current setup, and allow my second photographer or my videographer to shoot stills at weddings as well. And that's going to be huge. That's not only going to save me a lot of time, it's going to enable my second photographer to get, you know, sort of candid shots, and I can kind of relax a bit more at weddings. Pretty much it for me. The only thing to say is price. In the US, they're pricing it about $900, and in the UK, they're pricing it at £950. Now that seems a bit ridiculous, but we always get shafted in the UK, because really, if it's $900, it should only be about £780. It should be much more than that with the exchange rate at the moment. But for some strange reason, they get away with selling it for, you know, for more in the UK. So yeah, let me know what you think down in the description. I am a Sony shooter, so this is really interesting for me, and I'm really excited that this is coming out. And I think Sony have done a really good turn here. I know it's not the best system in the world, but then it's not the most expensive system in the world. One of the biggest drawbacks that it has is its range of lenses. The Sony APS-C lens range isn't really that good. We don't have a massive range of lenses. I have my own wide angle lens. This is an f4 10-18. I use that for landscape photography on my A7 III, so I could use that for vlogging. Now that has got a stabilizer in it. It's actually stabilized itself. It's got optical steady shot. So the camera not having IBIS or in-body stabilization, that will help. Now, if you're contemplating buying this system as a vlogging setup, there's not a lot of lenses at a reasonable price in the wide range. I mean, this is an f4. There's a couple of f2.8 lenses that you might consider wide, but they start getting really expensive. And then you're looking at a vlogging setup that starts costing you nearly, what, $2,000 perhaps. It's probably not worth it for that. The fact that I have a lens already that I can plonk on there and use for vlogging really simply and easily, and I don't have to purchase anything else, makes that the camera's price pretty affordable, give or take. If I sell that, I think it would be something that I'm going to buy. If you shoot another system, if you're Canon, Nikon, or any other camera manufacturers, you'd have to ask yourself the question, could you afford it? Is it worth doing it? It's going to be used to fill a gap in lots of different aspects of my photography and my videography. So it is definitely worth it for me. If it's worth it for you, I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. I'm open to all your suggestions. If you're looking forward to this and really excited as I am for this system, let me know down below. If you're completely against it, let me know too. Just try and be constructive. I know it can be quite competitive out there. I know there are a lot of shooters who don't really like Sony, and they have their reasons. That's fine. This is my own personal views, so please take it as that, and please try and keep your comments constructive. Well, I'm going to get going. I wanted to get this up quick. I want to get it out there so everyone could see my my views on this camera. You're probably going to see me with it at some point in the future. I don't know if it'll be on release. I don't know yet. I'll have to look at my my current expenditure and if I can afford it, if I can get rid of that, and see if I can purchase it. I don't know yet, but keep an eye on the channel. Keep checking back. If you're new here, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get updates every time I upload a new video. If you're not new, thank you for coming back and watching another video. If you've got anything out this that's piqued your interest or you like, please slap a thumbs up. Keep shooting, and I hope to see you on another video soon. Take it easy. Bye.